Okay, thank you for attending this webinar, Mastering Stakeholder Bias. This is a subject that is very, very dear to me. It's a subject that I don't think is addressed as much as it probably should be in the project management and PMO management domains. I don't like to start any presentation without an opportunity to give you an opportunity to shine or me an opportunity to get to know you better. So I have a brain warm-up exercise for you. It goes like this. Who can arrange the following four numbers and two arithmetic expressions, symbols, shown below into a correct mathematical equation? The numbers are 1, 2, 3, and 4. The arithmetic symbols are the plus sign and the equal sign. And you have to use each of the numbers once and only once, and each of the symbols once and only once. So you can't say 1 plus 2 equals 3 because you're not using the 4. Now, there's three correct answers, and I promise you, you know them all. So just give a moment to think. In fact, I'll just ask you for one of them, and we won't go too long. And I'll also provide a tip for you, and that is to get the answer, you have to think slightly differently than your normal way of thinking. So I'll wait just a moment longer to see if anyone can chat the answer. And don't be bashful. There's no penalty for getting it wrong, and there's no reward for getting it right other than a badge of honor. Okay, I don't see anyone chatting the right answer. So let me tell you what the most common wrong answer is. The most common wrong answer, and you probably have thought about this or come across this already, and that is 1 plus 4 equals 2 plus 3. Now, arithmetically, that's correct, but you're using the plus sign more than once. So let me just go ahead and show you the correct answers, which are 1 to the power of 2 plus 3 equals 4, 1 to the power of 4 plus 2 equals 3, just basic math that we all know, exponential equations. And the third one all requires a little bit of creativity, and that is 12. We're putting the 1 and 2 next together equals 3, and we're going to rotate that plus sign to make it look like a multiplication sign. So 12 equals 3 plus 4. So it perfectly complies with the instructions of arranging. I didn't say you couldn't rotate it. You can't break it up and change the image, change the symbol, or change the number. Now, I like to start this presentation with this specific warm-up exercise for a reason. And the reason I like to start this presentation with this warm-up exercise is that the aha moment isn't just that it's a cute quiz, but that you had the ability to get this right. Every one of you knew these answers. Every one of you had the ability to immediately chat this to me, but not a single one of you did. Now, don't feel bad. I didn't either when I first saw this example. That's why I like it so much. But the premise is you had the ability to get it right, but it required a different thinking. And I can't think of a better way to segue into this presentation about stakeholder bias than to suggest it requires a different way of thinking to really get right. So the agenda I'd like to go through with you consists of the following topics. First, it's really important to address the views of stakeholder bias because they often get in the way of truly understanding and applying stakeholder bias. And then I'll go into an example just to confirm our understanding so we all are talking about the concept of stakeholder bias from the right perspective. And then we'll talk about project stakeholder bias specifically and some tips for mastering the craft. And I'd like to share with you some comments from people that have attended one of the workshops that I've given on this topic, and then months later, out of the blue, called in and say, "Hey, Mark, the one thing I got out of your workshop that was most valuable is stakeholder bias, and we've been doing it for several months now, and let me tell you the difference it's made." So I've had some feedback over the years on that, and so I wanted to share that with you as well. Now, I do want to congratulate Massimo Sperati. I apologize if I got the name wrong, but he successfully chatted and participated with me. So thank you for playing the game, Massimo, and making an effort to solve one of the problems. So Let's start with the two views of stakeholder bias. The term stakeholder bias is troublesome. Now, the first word isn't the troublesome part, stakeholder. I think we all can relate to the idea that in gambling, an independent party with whom each of those who make a wager deposits money is a stakeholder. If I'm placing the bet on who's going to win the Super Bowl this year, that I'm a stakeholder in that bet. Now, in a business context, a stakeholder is a person with an interest or a concern in something, and that makes sense. If there's a program underway or a large project underway to make an improvement in the business which will affect my department, I might be a stakeholder in that particular project effort. Now, bias, this is the word that's the problem. Most people, and in all of the project management literature I've seen, when we talk about bias, we're talking about a prejudice in favor or against a thing, a person, or group when compared with something else. And it's usually in a context that's considered unfair, like bias is bad. And I'll get into some examples of that shortly. But there's another view of bias, which is a strong interest in something over something else. Like I prefer chocolate cake over, who knows, what could it be? Liver. I definitely have a bias for chocolate cake over liver. And so that is really helpful. That's not bad at all. Now, let me go a little bit further into this because it shows up in the project management domain and PMO management domain, in that when we talk about stakeholder bias, usually the person that's talking about stakeholder bias is coming at it from the negative bias view. And they'll give you examples of negative bias. And in the longer version of this presentation that I do in face-to-face workshops, I go through each of these: anchoring bias, confirmation bias, halo horn effect bias, self-serving bias, status quo bias, prejudicial bias. And all of these are very, very real and important to be aware of, but they're just one side of the coin. And not only is it just one side of the coin, a improper focus on negative bias only can lead to missed opportunities for understanding what stakeholders really care about. Now, if I take a look at some of the project things, terminologies that we're used to hearing: scope, time, and cost, quality, customer satisfaction, resources. The first three are the triple constraints. The next three are oftentimes added. Sometimes you see risk instead of customer satisfaction. But the idea is these things: scope, time, cost, quality, customer satisfaction, resources, are things that stakeholders have biases for. And they're not just very helpful.
Hi there, hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year. But if you use the coupon code LEARN to earn, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.